Heart to heart with ceiling fan man. 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 Okay, morning everyone. I hope that worked. I'm still learning. Hope everyone was able to hear that and try to get this stuff off of my screen somewhere over here. There you are. Wow, 25 people. That's fantastic. I know there's an easy way of doing that, but like I said, still learning all this. So here I am. So I figured I'd be that old hippie that like sits and smokes weed and then like says like amazing things, and everyone goes, whoa, and he has no idea what he said the next day. So it has an inner ball, of course, it's as real as the one that they say we live on. And see, it turns around, and there's a liquid, and then there's this outer shell of plastic. And so the theory is the magnetic pole of the earth is spinning this thing. Again, I don't even quite understand anymore what all this means, but the fact that you can turn the outside ball, it's separate from the inner ball. So if we picture, say, a flat plane, because that's kind of where I believe we're at, below it would be shale or the underworld, and then you could, and then above it would be where we see the clouds and all that. But covering the entire thing, holding in the water, is the firmament. And it's not just a dome at the top, it's all the way around. And as that dome turns, I don't know what directions it goes. Nobody gave me the manual. The manual, right. It can cause wind. It can cause the jet streams. It can cause things in the water and the ocean. I mean, it all makes sense. And potentially it catches something on the shale and it causes an earthquake, right? I don't know. It's just an idea. That's all these are. Until we can actually get in a fake spaceship and go up to fake space and prove it. It's all theories. Everything. Doesn't matter how smart you are. Doesn't matter how many years you spent studying. It's all just a theory.
There are no experts.
Good morning, sir. Aloha.
Aloha. How are you doing, Brother Chilling Fan Man?
Good.
We started analyzing biblical texts and other ancient texts as well, and started applying laws of physics to it and seeing if we could come up with some theories on what the dome is made out of and other stuff. So to conclude it, we believe that the dome is made out of blue glass.
Operation Blue Glass.
Blue glass that's made of lava. When lava cools rapidly, it turns into blue glass called blue obsidian. So that would explain why the sky is blue, even though air is clear. It would explain why water's blue, even though water's clear during the daytime, because it takes upon the hue of the color of the container in which it's in. Just like right now, I have a glass of water, but this water is not blue. It just appears to be blue because it's in a, there you go. Yours appears to be clear. If it was a red cup, it would appear to be red. It also explains how we're getting rainbows. So you need a prism indoors to create a rainbow, but outdoors you don't need one. You can just turn on your sprinkler. And the reason why we believe it to be lava is not only does Job 37:18, when it's explaining what the firmament is, a molten looking glass, but also it makes sense because it also explains shooting stars. Shooting stars. The byproduct of obsidian is something called perlite, and it's abundant here on Earth, which means we'll never run out of it. We have so much perlite here on Earth that we have storehouses in every country of millions of tons of this stuff called perlite. We mine it here on Earth. The thing is, we don't know how it's so abundant here on Earth, because the only way to make it is the byproduct of obsidian. You can't artificially make it. So where is it coming from? I say that's what shooting stars, meteors, asteroids, all that stuff are, because as the dome is above our head and it's a rotating dome with the stars attached to it, it's shedding itself. That's part of its strength, is that it's continuously renewing itself, and it's continuously shedding itself as well. And the stuff that we call shooting stars, that's just a name for a phenomena for a light falling towards the Earth that we see. But they're not stars, obviously. What are they? Well, they're pieces of perlite. Perlite, when it's found here on Earth, we mine it, and it's a kind of a charcoaly gray color. To get it the white color that we're used to, they have to put it into a furnace, raise it to 800 degrees Fahrenheit, and then it does this kind of popcorn effect. It turns bright white. It expands like 20 to 30 times its normal size, and it leaves a long streaking white tail behind it. The same thing is occurring when we see these shooting stars. As the perlite is falling, as a scab does from our skin from the blue obsidian dome, as it falls down towards Earth, it gains temperature via the speed that it's acquiring. Once it reaches 800 degrees Fahrenheit, it turns bright white, expands 20 to 30 times its normal size, and leaves a long streaking white tail behind it. And that's why I believe we have abundant amount of perlite here on Earth.
And you know, the other thing too, now that I'm thinking of it as a complete closed system where the firmament is 360 degrees around the flat Earth we live on, and the shale beneath, and the heavens above, this clouds. Now it makes sense to me also, as far as the look of the rainbow. I have it on one of my last videos. If you get high enough, a rainbow is a complete circle. The only reason it looks partial is because you're blocked by, horizons and whatever else. And so all of these things are starting to make sense. And it also explains, how everything is held in and enclosed.
It would basically mean that the Earth is a huge aquaponics terrarium that's regenerating itself, and it's its own ecosystem. Just like if you want to make your own ecosystem, you'd make an aquaponic system. So it's creating itself. The lava here on Earth that we have underneath our feet, called lava tubes, that's flowing through the Earth. First of all, you would need an abundant amount of this material to make a dome that huge to cover the entirety of this flat surface of the Earth. Well, there's an abundant amount of lava. So we have the material, and we also have the conditions that need to be met. In order to make this blue glass, you have to have water cooled rapidly. Well, if you take the globe and you smash it, you get the flat Earth. Also, when you take the globe and you smash it, you take the ring of fire, and the inner circle of it, the ice circle, the ice wall that we call. So underneath that is the lava tubes coursing through the Earth. Those are pushing out at the extremities of this ice wall, and it's forming via Passion's law. If you guys want to look up Passion's law, that's how I believe in Genesis, in the very beginning, it was actually created. Because a 360-degree angle, as it's rising up upon itself, instead of falling in, because it's a perfect circle, it met at the zenith, at the center. And what keeps it so strong is that it's rotating. It's a dome, which is the strongest structure, and it's made out of glass, and it's renewing itself.
First off, the first thing I realized in Volcano, the most viewed eruption of a volcano, because you're stating you can't find one on the internet. The one that has the most views right now from 2008 with 7 million views. It's obviously just complete fake. Like someone did it in their backyard studio. It's just garbage.
Right.
It looks like something out of a Hollywood movie. And then the next one is National Geographic, and all they're showing is either lava at the ocean or smoke exploding out of the top. Okay. And then again, I went to like ABC News, and it looks so fake. It looks like something out of a Japanese movie of one in Mexico. And it looks like a smoke bomb. So as I did the research that you asked me to do, I'm fascinated with the fact that you're right. I can't find one. So go ahead and explain that to the audience, please, sir.
Some of these volcanic eruptions that people think are fake because they see some red coming out of it, they're not fake. They're actually real. And people will, but doesn't that disprove you? No, there's not lava coming out. For some, only like I think there's 1 or 2 videos I've ever seen that have some red coming out of them that I know are real. That's not lava coming out. You see, whenever the heat, the sulfur that's being generated through these sulfur vents, that's what volcanoes really are. The sulfur vents, like Mount St. Helens, etc., etc. There's heat. Remember, heat heats up rocks. These mountains, these cone-shaped mountains, are comprised of rocks. So when you see an initial explosion and you see some red, go ahead and play this one and then we'll go back.
Okay. I mean, it just looks so fake, but this one is this is the number one. When you look up volcanoes exploding in YouTube, this is the number one return. And I mean, it just looks so ridiculously fake to me.
Let's let it play out for a few more seconds. Oh yeah, that's fake. So, and here's the thing you can do whenever you're trying to see if something is fake, like this one, see if there's any amateur footage of it, because the odds that there would not be one single amateur footage of this amazing explosion are zero.
Right.
Zero. That nobody would capture it with their camera phone. So that's number one that you always want to look for. And then you want to look for ones that are actually valid, like Mount St. Helens or the recent explosion in Indonesia. When you see those eruptions, you see nothing but sulfur coming out of them, because that's what they are. They're sulfur vents. There are a few videos where you see a little bit of red trickling out for about 30 seconds. That isn't fake. That's real. What that is see, this is hot. This is hot sulfur, hot ash. And as they're blowing their cap or their top, the rocks that are in the way are rolling down the mountain, and they're coal red. So at nighttime, the contrast of the dark sky, the coldness of the air, and the hot rocks, you'll see a couple of red things coming down the mountain. That's it. And then for the remainder, after about 30 seconds of the initial explosion, you'll see only sulfur and ash coming out.
So there was another one here. I'll throw this one up. This is the thing, though. It's like, this is supposedly mainstream news. Like, this one says it's of ABC News volcanic eruption, sending it into Mexico. And again, I say this darn thing looks fake to me. It looks like something I'd see on, I don't know, MacGyver or the A-Team. I mean, what is that?
Well, let me explain to you, man. In the very initial beginning, when you showed that, we saw an explosion, right? And then we saw a little bit of red come out, and now all we're seeing is ash, right?
There you go. That's it. And now it's just smoke.
Okay. So it's because it's a capped mountain. So these sulfur vents that are releasing and exploding, there's heat generated in there. So the initial is going to cause some red rocks to be flown out. That's it. But you see no lava trickling down the mountain, no lava coming up afterwards. So this video has been shown several times. That's a legit video. But you notice no red lava flowing down, no red lava flowing up in the air. The initial explosion that's blowing off the cap is hot. It's hot. So these rocks that are being exploded into the air, that combustion, that explosion is causing the initial little bit of red that we see. So that's a legit video, but that isn't lava. All that is the cap, when it's being blown, the heat underneath, the explosion, it's causing a little bit of those red coal rocks to be bursted out. And that's what we would expect. Then you don't see that any longer. You see the same thing in Yellowstone. When they have their sulfur vents and new ones erupt, when you catch them from the beginning, you see a little bit of red because it's exploding the crust that was initially covered with heat, sulfur heat that's heating up these rocks. That's why they explode, because the heat is so high.
Hi. Are you high?
I am so high.
I am so high.
That eventually it gets it to explode. Now, how everybody can know for sure, like totally, that there are no cone-shaped mountains that spew lava out of them is just apply the laws of physics. When you apply the laws of physics, first of all, we don't see any on video, right? Even the video that Ceiling Fan Man just showed, that was
I honestly did. Everyone in the chat can look, but try to find it. He posted that to me, and I can't find other than what we just saw, and that's it. There's no lava flying down or shooting up. And again, everything in this world is to scare us and put fear in us. And every time you show a volcano, it's always erupting, destroying. It's always the catalyst of destruction in the movies. Shoot, there was one year they put out 2 volcano movies in a row. Like it's always about that. Super volcanoes. Heck, we got that, was it Mount Rainier, that they say any day it's going to just blow up and just kill everyone. And when we did have a volcano blow up here, I wasn't here, but my wife was at the time. And all it was ash. They just were covered in ash. But there was no like shooting lava ever the entire time. So, yeah, everything you're telling me, I can't disprove. And before you got here, I told everyone, everything anyone ever talks about in our life is a theory unless we can actually do it. We'll never know the things, and even the people in the white coats that think they know everything and have their degrees, if they haven't gone up there and experienced it themselves, it's all theory. But we got some really cool theories, I think. Go for it, man.
But volcanoes being a hoax isn't a theory. That's a fact. I live on the most active lava flow on Earth. Hawaii has the most active lava flow on Earth. And that's how I found out about this hoax. I was an Expedia agent. I was doing sales for Expedia local agents in Hawaii, selling tours and cruises and activities and stuff like that. One of our activities was the volcano adventure, where you fly over a helicopter to see the volcano. You get to walk the dormant lava tubes and go in the water and see it flowing into the water. Long story short, that was the thing I was most excited about. I was doing all kinds of other adventure tours, but that was the one I was looking forward to, because on the brochure itself, it had a huge volcano with lava flowing out of it. I couldn't wait to see that. So when I went there, I was really, it was great and everything, but I was really disappointed because I wasn't, after the 2-day adventure, I wasn't able to see the cone-shaped mountain. So I asked the expert volcanists that were there. They have expert geologists and volcanists that are there.
Live long, Tipao, and prosper.
And I asked them, I said, hey, can you guys show me? I work for Expedia. Can you guys, I know you probably don't show the tourists because it's too dangerous, but can you show me the cone-shaped mountain where the lava is coming out of it? And they laughed and they said, oh, no. That's not how lava comes out of the earth. Lava comes from, those dormant lava tubes that we're walking through? That's how it comes out 95% of the time. 5% of the time, it can come from erupting volcanoes, like in the past, like Pompeii, and maybe in the future. And I was like, but I don't get it. The brochure shows a lava, and they go, well, that's just to sell it. And so at that time, I wasn't a truther, Ceiling Fan Man. So I was just scratching my head. It took me years of going back over and over again to finally be like, oh, it's a lie. It's so what they're selling us is a lie. It's how the dinosaurs went extinct. It's how they sell all these different scare tactics like super volcanoes. But the volcano hoax is 100% not true, because first of all, what I'm telling you, that lava comes from underground lava tubes, not from cone-shaped mountains. Expert volcanists say the same thing as me.
Logical decision, logically arrived at.
They just say on rare exceptions, it can come from a cone-shaped mountain.
And
so
you know what? I got to say, the one time I get to experience that, when we were in Hawaii, we went to see where the Big Island volcanoes are erupting. All you could do was walk across it was like, I don't know, miles, it seemed like, of lava flow where it's shooting out into the ocean from underground, just like you say. Yeah. It was running along tubes, and then it would spill out into the ocean. We were promised the same thing. I was one of those guys. It's like, I gotta see this, and I didn't see it either. And I never thought twice about it, because I'd seen it on National Geographic plenty of times. I know what it looks like. In my mind, I experienced it because I saw the lava flow. I saw it in the ground. I saw it in the mountain. I experienced it, but I didn't. I put it together in my head because of what I saw on television.
Yeah. And remember this, Ceiling Fan Man, when you went to the Big Island, you did see a big cone-shaped mountain right there, right? Mauna Kea. Yeah. What did it have on top of it? It was snow-capped.
Yes. Yeah. Why?
Another thing to remember, folks, is that just like Ceiling Fan Man says, he went there as a tourist to check it out. It's the #1 tourist attraction on the Big Island of Hawaii. If it was dangerous, like they say, there wouldn't be stores nearby it. There wouldn't be tourists taking pictures. Right. It moves slowly. It moves like the blob. It's not devastating people like they try to. And these eruptions that we see, these huge eruptions on National Geographic, all those are, every single time, you can check any footage to see if I'm wrong. Every single time it's a pan-in shot. That means they zoom right in. So they're alluding to you that it's a cone-shaped mountain, but the pan-in shot, and all it is this. It flows real slowly onto the earth from these underground lava tubes. But on occasion, as it's flowing onto the earth, it meets a cavity or a hole, and it fills that hole. And when it does, its tremendous weight, force, pressure, and heat causes debris from the outside of that hole to fall within it. And most people think, because they've seen too many movies, that the rocks and the trees that fall inside of it just kind of melt and sink. No, they become instant projectiles, just like if you drop water into an oil pan. So these eruptions of choo, and then, these noises that you hear and these big red things that you see coming out, that's because these lava beds are full of lava, and as they're pressing on the borders of this cavity, debris falls inside of it. When that happens, they're zooming in on it, and then they get their money shot. That's how they get away with that. Same thing I'll ask you to do on this. If we all know that a mountain is comprised of rocks mostly, of course, dirt and soil and trees and stuff like that too, but it's comprised of rocks. Rocks have a melting point. The temperature of lava is twice that of the melting point of rocks. What would actually occur if for some reason lava decided to go up a cone-shaped mountain instead of finding the path of least resistance, which is what we know all liquids do? But if for some reason it decided to funnel up a cone-shaped mountain, what would actually occur is the mountain itself would implode, because it's twice the melting point of the rocks that comprise it. So it's an impossibility due to the laws of physics. Also, we don't have any video of it. And look, just like Ceiling Fan Man and myself are saying, and several others who know that the volcano hoax is true, we've been to active lava flow. Actually, it's the most active lava flow on Earth. And is it dangerous at all? Of course not. People have houses right next to it. There's a Costco right across the street. You know, it's not dangerous. And
the whole reason that we actually took a full day, because we weren't actually going to go to the island of Hawaii. We were going to, I think we just went to Kauai, and but we were sold about this volcano. That's the only reason we went to the big island, because it's a nice island, but comparatively the other ones I think are way nicer. I haven't been to all the different ones, but the only reason we went there was for this volcano hoax.
And you never know until you look into something that it's a lie. Like, for example, earthquakes. You know, how are earthquakes created? Well, supposedly tectonic plates. It's not tectonic plates. Tectonic plates are necessary on a globe model. They're a lie. There's no proof of tectonic plates underneath the Earth at all. Tectonic plate theory assumes somehow, or alludes to, that if California were to have a big enough earthquake, that part of California could crack off and float into the ocean. Well, we're all one big continent. We're all together on a landmass. It's just because of the sea level, you have what's called islands. That's all, right? So what is causing these earthquakes? Well, what we see in reality is the Earth caving in, and the after result of the Earth caving in or cracking, we have an aftermath of the Earth quaking. So we call them the nickname of earthquakes. Okay, so imagine this. This is what actually causes earthquakes. Underneath the Earth, coursing like veins in our body, are lava tubes. Some of them are dormant, just like the one you walked through. Over time, some of those dormant lava tubes cave in upon themselves.
That I can believe, because some of the holes were huge in the walls and stuff. Yeah, like a sponge. Think of it like a sponge.
Yeah. So what happens is when they cave in upon themselves, the rest of the soil on top of the Earth is going to follow suit. And when you look at seismic activity and volcanic activity, they are synonymous with each other. They line up perfectly, exactly. That's because they're one and the same. What causes the Earth to cave in, or an earthquake, is these dormant lava tubes expiring or caving in upon themselves, causing the surface of the Earth to also follow suit.
And which totally makes sense, because everything regenerates itself. That's why I find it fascinating at this point that anyone can't believe that this isn't a divine structure, because everything regenerates itself, not just on our bodies, but also in the earth and on the earth and the dome itself. And so, as you're saying, what's happening, it's not like some, Earth is falling into a precipice and, why is earthquake happening? This whole tectonic plate garbage they taught us, is if these tubes, which are massive, because the one you walk through, you guys should look it up online, but it's huge. And then also you look to the left and the right or whatever, and there's giant holes, like you say. And I can totally picture, as that eventually will wear down and compress, then the earth on top is going to fold in and create the earthquakes, but it's just going to generate new soil and earth and stuff. And it's just the same process as you think with the air, it circulates, and with the water, it circulates, and with the earth. And it's that, what is that, vortex pattern on everything in our life, including everything that we deal with on the earth. And so as that happens, we only get upset on earthquakes because we build these monolith structures. Nobody told us to do that, so it's going to happen. And so we think earthquakes are horrible when actually it's just the natural healing process of the earth, and it's going to do it whether you build that giant structure on top of it or not. That's just the way it is. And if you choose a spot that, is about to collapse, well, that's consent, I guess, right? Because we give away free will.
But I'll say one more thing. A lot of people already know that dinosaurs are a hoax, and that's not where we get oil from, that oil's abundant, that it's abiotic. But where does oil come from? That's what a lot of people want to ask. Well, it turns out that pretty much everything on Earth is created from lava. So is oil, or this abiotic substance. And the way it's created is exactly this process. So the active lava tubes that have lava coursing through them, the way they're created is the outer portion of the lava creates a shell around itself because the earth around it cools it just enough to harden into what we call a lava tube, allowing the inner lava to stay heated and continue to flow. But it's releasing heat from the external portion of the lava tube on top of it. And the compactness, the hard compactness of Earth is creating pressure. The methane that's released, that's compacted with the pressure, creates an abiotic substance called crude oil. Crude oil is abundant on Earth, and we're never going to run out of it. And that's how it's created. It's created from the methane release in combination with the hard compactness of the Earth to release a substance called abiotic fluid, abiotic oil. This oil is continuously being made. It's always being made, and it runs off into these dormant lava tubes. So we have lava flowing through the active lava tubes, and we have oil flowing through these dormant lava tubes under the earth. And as it flows down, it catches up in reservoirs, and that's how we're able to find a reservoir and pump it. And it's the same reason why if you go to a reservoir and you pump it and it's dry, you come back 8 months later and it's halfway filled up again.
Satellite tracking continues.